Ms. Mandrela, and thank you to each of our witnesses for your opening comments. I'm going to start questioning with discussion of Title 42, which I'm sure will be discussed quite extensively during this committee, and we'll have some other issues. But we know that Title 42 has severely limited border security enforcement strategies, like the consequence delivery system. The consequence delivery system started back in 2008 and was designed to impose escalating consequences on individuals who are crossing the border illegally. And quite frankly, it worked. And I have this chart to show how consequence delivery system worked. As you can see here from 2008 when it went into effect, these are folks that are coming across the border on a repeated basis, but it significantly decreased the number of folks coming across the border until you can see there in 2019, where we have a huge increase. That's when the Trump administration suspended the consequence delivery system to implement Title 42. So you can see once that happens with Title 42, a major spike once again going up of folks that are coming repeatedly over the border. Under Title 42, migrants are pushed back to Mexico with no consequences, and they have no reason not to keep trying. And they keep trying. They come back many, many times, as you can see that increase. And then it levels off. That flattening is with the Biden administration. It then flattened at that point. But you see this huge increase, going back to the days before consequence was put in place. Now we have incredible strain because of folks coming over constantly. In fact, since the start of fiscal year 2021, the Border Patrol has encountered more than 900,000 migrants that they have seen at least once before, but they've probably seen them many, many times as they keep trying over and over again. There are no consequences. That's been eliminated with Title 42. So they keep trying until they get through. And when Title 42 is terminated, it's my sense that consequences need to be in place, like expedited removal and prosecution to decrease these illegal crossings and these repeat offenders, which are skewing the numbers we see over here. It's just because people are coming over so many times, the numbers are up, and that's a consequence. Because the consequence system is gone, with Title 42, you start seeing a big increase there because of repeat offenders. So my question for Mr. Nunes-Neto, does the department plan to reinstate consequences to reduce the rate of repeat crossers who have taken advantage of Title 42 public health order?
Thank you for that question, Chairman. And you are exactly right that under Title 42, the
Microphone?
lack of any real consequences.
Sorry, would you start over, please?
Yeah, so thank you, Chairman, for the question. And you're exactly right that under Title 42, the lack of consequences leads to, roughly half of individuals being re-encountered subsequently. And we are committed to imposing consequences as part of the administration's plan that, again, is in my written testimony. Part of those consequences is really ramping up our use of expedited removal for those who are removable, and also doing a focused prosecution campaign on individuals whose conduct warrants it, and that includes individuals who are recidivists, who cross multiple times. It also includes individuals who may seek to evade capture. I would note one thing, Chairman, which is we've actually already begun implementing consequences for recidivists. It's starting about 2 months ago. We began an effort to identify Title 42 recidivists and start imposing expedited removal on them to levy a consequence. And we plan to continue to increase that in the coming weeks.
So if I can paraphrase, without these consequences, we're putting a real strain on our folks at the border because we've got people just coming over, sent back to Mexico. They come back later that day. They come back the next week, the 2 weeks, constantly. Huge strain. Once consequences are in place, we can reinstate that. Title 42 is allowing people to keep coming over and over again, constantly inflating these numbers. Now, once consequences put in place, you would expect to start seeing a decrease again, like we saw in the past, which seemed to be pretty successful prior to Title 42?
I think that's absolutely correct, sir.
Great. Title 42 has also eliminated the safest and most orderly pathway for asylum seekers to apply for protections. When asylum seekers are turned away at the ports of entry, which they are with the situation right now, then they're forced to cross between the ports instead of coming in the ports of entry. This clearly endangers themselves, but it also strains our border security folks because we're pushing folks away from the ports of entry to try other ways to get in. So my question for you, Chief Hoffman, could you please describe the specific steps that the administration is undertaking to increase our capacity at ports of entry so we can safely process asylum seekers, ensure efficient processing of trade and travel, and then allow the Border Patrol agents to carry out their law enforcement duties in between ports of entry?
Thank you for that question. I'd be glad to address that. Yes, it is part of the process to encourage asylum seekers to go back through the ports of entry if possible to do that. But in order to do that, we have to have the capacity to be able to process them as much as we can. To that end, we are doing a number of things to get ready to that and do that. We've actually processed over the last few months several exceptions to the File 42 already in preparation of this also. But we have detailed so far up to 255 additional personnel to the ports of entry on the southwest border to do that. We're working also to leverage better technology to do that with, using the CBP One app to encourage people to apply to get as much advanced processing information as possible as they arrive to the port of entry to increase the efficiencies. Because in order to increase efficiencies, there's really two ways. You either increase your footprints or you improve your processes. And the footprint is what it is at a port of entry. So we're going to have to work on improving our processes to improve our efficiencies. And OFO is working diligently to do that and are in preparation for that. But it's not without some concerns when the volumes arrive. That there's a good likelihood there could be longer lines. There could be some delays, slow things down. But the port directors have the authority to make the decisions, to form the lines as they need to, and do those things process to move it as efficiently as they can. We're going to build on a lot of the past lessons we learned when this was going on previously and continue to process them through that way.
Thank you. Ranking Member Report.